This story might sound totally fabricated, or that I may have been imagining it, but please believe me when I say I swear up and down on my life that this is a true experience. I'm what most call a skeptic, not really believing in higher beings like God, angels, or even the paranormal. But even so, I didn't know where else to post this story. As a teenager, I'd been left home alone on more than one occasion, as my mother is a single mother balancing work while making sure my siblings and I are where we're meant to be, like school or at our minimum wage jobs. This took place on a Saturday morning where my older sister had been dropped off at her workplace, while my younger brother was at a sleepover with his friends at their house. Usually Mom would have done the grocery shopping on a Friday night, but she'd been busy organizing some stuff from work, and because she surprisingly didn't need to purchase too many items for the week, she did not feel the need to drag her favorite child, me, to help her, and thus decided to leave without me. It wasn't like she didn't let me know. She did it every time she'd leave the house. All was golden. I lay in bed, scrolling through Twitter to admire the ongoing arguments between users over some stupid opinions, when I heard a tapping on my window. I always have my blinds down, so I couldn't see what it was. There are no trees in my yard. As a rational human, I simply shrugged it off as the wind and kept scrolling. Now, I like to think that I know what my own mother sounds like, so imagine my surprise when her voice sounded my name from the other side. "It's cold out here. Let me in." Something else you should know? 1. My window is connected to the backyard, which is only accessible if you go through the house. 2. My window doesn't open. 3. It's September in Australia. The later months here aren't cold, that's for sure. And, as the walls here are notoriously thin, I would have noticed if the front door opened or closed, as well as my mom's footsteps. So imagine my surprise when I heard this. And yes, it was certainly possible that I didn't hear her, or maybe got too absorbed into reading these tweets. If that were the case, then why wouldn't she have just come back in through the door? It isn't locked from the outside. She of all people should know that, seeing as though she's lived here for 15 years. Not quite sure what it was, but I started to sweat profusely under my blanket, but I couldn't move. Suddenly overwhelmed by fear? Maybe. I don't know. All I remember in that moment was feeling the kind of fear that paralyzes you. Unable to move or breathe, I just lay there in silence, waiting for something. My name sounded once again. "Let me in, please. It's cold out here." Whatever the flip this was stopped after my mom's car pulled into the driveway. Could it have been a prank? Possibly, but unlikely. My mother isn't the type to prank. She's funny in the sense of witty remarks and snarky comments, but never pranks. I didn't bring it up though. I still get chills thinking about it, even now as I'm recounting it. So far, I've chalked it up to either a prank by my siblings, or just my imagination. I need help trying to figure out what my wife saw. This happened about 4 months ago to my wife while alone driving at night. She was coming home from her parents' house in the back roads of Ohio at about midnight. She said that the road she usually takes to get back to her house was closed due to the never-ending roadwork here, so her GPS took her on a detour, about 30 minutes out of the way down a road she has never been down before. About halfway down this creepy road, she said she got this feeling that she needed to slow down coming around this curve. As she did, she turned and down a ways in the middle of the road was this thing. She said she thought it was a deer at first, but quickly realized it was something else. She said it was tall, easily taller than her car, but standing on all fours. It was kinda naked almost, but still had some fur-looking stuff, just blotchy as if it was molting or something. Extremely muscular, almost like a bodybuilder, and its exposed skin was kind of a pale pinkish gray color. She kept saying over and over again how muscular its arms are in particular. The face was the most disturbing part though. Big yellow glowing eyes and a huge mouth hanging open, exposing an empty black hole. She described the shape of his head as similar to a Dementor from Harry Potter. Flat, oval, and long. No definitive nose, just huge, empty mouth and glowing yellow eyes. She said as she approached it, it jumped out of the way, and in the middle of the road were several small dead animals. The worst part though was when she made eye contact with it. She said she felt severe existential dread, as if she was 100% going to die. Her fate was sealed and it was going to be at the hands of this creature. That feeling never went away, and that entire ride home she kept looking behind her the whole time. She says she now sees it pacing the tree line at our house late at night, almost as if waiting for an opportunity to finish what he needs to do. I have heard banging on our porch, scratching at our bedroom window. Big claw marks have appeared on our balcony, in our yard, and on my car. We have had wood ripped away from our balcony outside of our bedroom. Worst of all, our 2-year-old Chihuahua went missing a few weeks ago when we left him out to use the bathroom. He hasn't been seen since. I have never personally seen it, but I 100% believe her. She is so scared to even look outside at night. She is convinced that if she makes eye contact with it again, it will be over. What is this thing? Is there anything we can do? If you want more to the story, I will answer comments. We have done a tiny amount of research, but nothing similar enough has come up. Thank you to anyone who answers. This is a story that I heard from a lovely woman here on YouTube a few years ago. We'll call her Samantha. It should be mentioned that Samantha is a psychic healer, and she is naturally in tune with realms other than the physical realm we're used to seeing every day. On a seemingly normal day, Samantha had to get ready to pick up her daughter from school like she normally does throughout the week. So she got into her car and began to drive on her usual route. However, this time there was something different. She got this intuitive feeling that she should, instead, take a different route for whatever reason. So she listened to her intuition, and instead of taking the freeway, decided to take the longer way, even though it meant getting there slower. As she made this decision to go a different route, she suddenly got this excruciatingly sharp pain in her right shoulder area, and didn't know where it was coming from. She intuitively felt that it was supernatural in nature, so she immediately decided to contact one of her friends who is also a psychic and has the ability to connect to alternate timelines. She gets on the phone with her friend and explains to her what she's feeling. She explains that she was on the way to pick up her daughter from school and decided to take a different route when all of a sudden this really sharp pain sprang into her right arm. Her friend then took a moment to meditate and connect with the other realms, and what she said next was both fascinating and very eerie for me to hear. She told Samantha that in another reality, she actually decided to take the normal route she takes in order to get to her daughter's school as usual, but that there was a major pileup further down the freeway, and that in that alternate reality, Samantha had actually died in that crash, and that her right arm was completely severed. She said that time does not exist, and that there are infinite amounts of parallel realities that run concurrently with each other, and that it is very possible to die in these realities as well. This sent chills all throughout my spine. I was very new to concepts like these, so it was a pretty tough pill for me to swallow, I will admit. But now that I am older, and have since explored the supernatural and the unknown for all these years after, it's honestly very intriguing to me. So what do you think? Do you guys believe in alternate timelines? Do you believe that we should listen to our intuition in order to make the best possible decision for ourselves, or even escape death? Either way, I think I'm going to be following my instincts the next time something tells me to go right instead of left.